person went broke because they went to
You know what? Fuck it. It's not learning. It's knowing. It's knowing. That's what it is. It's fucking knowing. It's not understanding.
Exactly.
And learning is understanding something.
Ooh, baby. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back.
Hey.
I'm Mondo.
And I'm tired.
I'm tired. Ooh. All right, welcome back to the podcast that does not exist because we do not exist.
Yeah, and we got a new non-existent lighting setup, so it's going to look different, but who cares?
Yes.
Probably looks the same kind of, except for it might look grainier.
Yes. We'll test it out. We're going to test it out. Okay. We're going to go back to the list that does not exist and scroll down to the next philosophical question.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are we going to talk about the...
I don't know, man, because part of me feels like I don't want to push it, but I also feel like we've mentioned it, and I feel like it has merit. So you know what? Fuck it. Maybe we just do it as the intro. I don't think it has to be long.
Yeah, and then we can do like a topic that's not that long.
That we... Okay.
Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So essentially...
So we're going to put the list that doesn't exist on hold for now. And Jordan's going to share a topic that we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
But we haven't dabbled with it this deeply. And so we're going to dabble in the arts of knowing and understanding.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the question. What's the difference?
Essentially the difference between knowing and understanding is a question. And I think this is... I think it's you know... I think this is an important question to ask yourself. Like, it's an important question to understand to understand the answer to because of the difference between knowing and understanding. But so I took notes just so that I could like not lose anything, and so also I can pump this out fast and not like rant about it. So essentially, knowing is remembering a sentence. The how. You know a car engine is powered by the engine. You know how to feel rested, get good sleep. So essentially it's like knowing is like a piece of information. Like you know how a car is powered. The engine powers it, okay?
Right.
You know how to get how do I feel, how do I get good rest? I get good sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right? You know these things. And then understanding is basically the why. So like, why does an engine power the car, right? You can know that it powers it, but you don't understand why. And the reason why is because fuel is injected into the cylinders in which fire sparks that physically react, creating energy that's converted into power. I believe that's how it works. Same with, why do we feel rested after we sleep? Because our mind is allowed to minimize its workload and take time to digest all the things that we learned during the day, and our body is allowed to remain still and long for a long enough duration of time to heal and repair micromuscle tears and joint usage. And it's just like when you understand these things, you're actually able to use that information to manipulate your reality. Okay. In a sense.
Yes.
And yeah, so like I wrote down like when you just know something, you're stuck with only that because it's all you've been presented with because all you've been presented with is a fact, right? You just know a fact. You don't know the meat behind it. And when you understand something, you can fully comprehend it, the ins and outs of it, and you're able to manipulate, predict it, and then also reconstruct it. And then the last part that I wrote is this goes into asking the right questions to get the right answers. We always want to know how. How do I stop being angry, jealous, sad? How do I get rid of my depression, anxiety, loneliness? We need to be asking why. Why am I angry? Why am I anxious? Why am I lonely? And once we understand why, the how becomes second nature, right? It becomes implicit. And I really feel like that's... I really feel like that's how a lot of things, if not everything, within this universe kind of works. When you just limit yourself to the hows, yeah, you can get answers, but like nobody fucking like, how do I get rid of my depression? Oh, you should exercise and better diet. Cool. Like, no, that doesn't fucking help anybody, right? But it's like, why am I depressed, right? Like, why? You ask yourself why. And you can ask the world, but the world obviously can't tell. Well, probably not. Isn't going to do a great job of telling you, right? But you need to ask yourself, why am I depressed? And then that's just a starting point. Obviously, asking yourself why doesn't mean you're going to land on the fucking perfect, but it's where you should start. Instead of asking how to ask why is. So, anyways.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that, because I like how you said you're able to reconstruct it.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. One big thing is, like, if you can test someone if they really understand a subject or not, it's rather, can they explain it?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a huge thing.
And often it's if they can explain it simply, and even more often it's if they can equate it to like an analogy, like an example, like a different kind of example.
Yes.
And this
yes.
is kind of the best way of it of displaying your understanding of a concept. If you can take that and take the general principle and apply it to something completely different.
Oh yeah, totally.
You can only do that if you understand it.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
I mean, you could repeat something that someone said, right? But anyways.
No, yeah, no, that's definitely true. I mean, it's just having that full grasp of something and able just to also tie it into different things and analogies, and just exactly what you said. I just completely agree with it.
Yeah.
Knowing and understanding is a very big difference. And it could be a very big reason as to why you're taking a lack of action of something.
Yeah, because I mean, quite honestly, because I feel like you aren't gonna know what to do unless you understand why things are the way they are.
Yeah,
like until you understand it, you can't actually take action, because if you're limiting yourself to just knowing things, that means you need to get continually taught something.
Yeah.
Right? When you understand it, then you can now I mean teach it. Like the difference between like a good teacher and a bad teacher is a good teacher knows about the subject, an okay teacher knows about the subject. A great teacher understands the subject and then can like shape it in different ways and teach it to different kinds of people, like different kinds of minds.
Yes, because they understand that subject so well that they're able to tie it to so many different things in life. Like that's a real
explain it in so many different ways.
Exactly. Like when that's like another thing with passion too, where like they're so passionate about that subject that they're able to, like you said, teach it to different minds, because that passion, they know it so well that they can tie it to those different types of minds and their lives.
Exactly.
And make it universal, because it is universal.
Yeah.
And when you study it and you see the principles of how the pillars of how something works like that.
Yeah.
And the potency, you're able to just apply it anywhere, because you see those similar pillars, similar potent subjects and characteristics throughout the universe. And able just to like expand it.
Yeah, and I really just fucking love the car analogy that like it came up. And by the way, it's literally a shower thought. I came up with that in the shower.
Nice, dude.
But,
shower thoughts are amazing,
right? But I feel like the car analogy is just so perfect, because it's like when you understand how a car works, you can literally take it apart and put it back together. And more than that, because you can see how a car is put together and put it back together. Like that's not hard. But more than that, you can swap out parts. Yeah. Right? You can do engine swaps. You can do, like different like you can like take out parts of your exhaust. Yeah. Like when you know how it works. Whereas like if you just understand it, you're just like, okay. Like yeah, you can't touch anything, because you know how it works, but you don't know like why is this here? Why do I need this piece here? Why is this important to this? Why do I? Yeah. So
yeah.
Anyways,
that's cool.
Okay,
I like that. That was a cool, straight, solid point.
Yeah.
It didn't take as long as I thought it would.
Yeah. In fact, it could have taken even less time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's perfect. I mean, I intended it to take just about as long as it did. So.
Okay.
All right. Back to the list.
Yeah. That's the difference between knowing and understanding.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Back to the list.
It feels weird doing this again, so like recently. You know what I mean? Like,
What do you mean?
because we haven't done this dated like back to back days ever.
Oh, I know, right?
It's just it feels like whoa.
Yeah.
I'm used to like having at least a week distance.
Yeah, no.
But
It is kind of weird, huh?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next question? Is it what's the more?
The top one is the
Okay.
most important purpose in life to find happiness.
This is a good one. I think this is a good one.
I think this is a good one too.
I'll let you kick this one off. What do you think?
Hmm?
So first, I want your answer, and then explain it.
Is the most important purpose in life to find happiness? Answer is no.
Interesting.
Yeah, because, well, no, I don't think so, because I think happiness is a very selfish thing. Well, not very. It's just a selfish thing. And I think I see happiness as more, almost like more corrupt than anything else. Not anything else, but it's more corrupt than the contrary, which would be, is the most important purpose in life to find fulfillment? Then I would say yes.
What's the difference between happiness and fulfillment?
We talked about this last time,
We
and
did.
it's essentially, fulfillment is like a bliss. It's kind of like
True. Yeah. Fulfillment. I think. Yeah. I think I get what you're getting to. Actually.
yeah,
This is one of those moments in which, at first I'm like, and now I'm like, but
and then happiness is kind of like this primitive emotion.
yeah. So I think what it comes down to is fulfillment is. I want to go into two different things here, but I feel like they contradict each other. So the first thing I wanted to go into was like there's the mind and the consciousness are separate, which is the reason why we can like observe our emotions. I think we've talked about this like on the
Right.
first episode, I think.
Yeah.
And so different things exist for different parts. But I think the difference between mind and consciousness is the mind exists. Actually, no, I don't even want to speak on this because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. So yeah, between happiness and fulfillment, I believe fulfillment is long term, and it's more steady, and it's more consistent, and happiness is very momentary,
Yes.
and it can sway, it can swing, it can spike, it can drop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's really hard to say whether that's the same emotion or not. You know, because
Yeah.
it's like I feel like you can be upset but still fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like-
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because you could be upset about, like, you could be upset, but you're still pursuing your fulfillment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and also it also, sorry to cut you off, but also this kind of goes into like how, what kind of happiness are we gonna chase, right? Are we gonna live a life of like momentary like gratification in which we're like basically distracting ourselves from our problems with drugs and media and shit like that, or are we gonna like seek out actual long term fulfillment? I don't know, because the thing is, I still want to say happiness because I feel like you can have
exactly.
long term happiness and short term happiness, and I do get the feeling that maybe there's a bit. Fuck, man, I'm really wanting to like Google the definition of like fulfillment and happiness.
Do you want to do that?
I'll Google it with my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh shit.
No, because I think that's a very distinction, because we've talked about the difference between a happy life and a good life. And so, like, if it asked, is the
Okay,
most
I want to read this out. Sorry.
Okay.
Fulfillment is the achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted. That's kind of, it's true, but I'm not sure that that's what I actually wanted. The meeting of a requirement or condition. That's really true, but not really what I was looking for. Actually, it's kind of weird. Happy definition: feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Yeah, so that's very momentary. That's a state of mind. I
Yeah.
feel like, that's a state of mind. Whereas like fulfillment, it's really interesting because I feel like I totally fucking cut you off.
No, this
as
needs
I
to be
continue cutting
said
you
though.
off.
This needs to be said though.
It's really interesting. So fulfillment, the achievement or something desired, promised, or predicted. The achievement of something desired, and then the second one was really interesting. I think the meeting of a requirement or condition. The meeting of a requirement. That one really hits for me.
For fulfillment?
Yeah.
Well,
the meeting of a requirement.
It's like fulfilling your destiny.
Exactly.
Like, it ties in with destiny, right?
I'm getting the same vibe. Yeah.
It's like fulfillment has this purpose, like this destiny that, like, happiness, sadness does not matter. It is your purpose. It does not have. It does. You could feel angry. You could feel mad. You could feel sad. Doesn't matter. You have a purpose. You have a destiny, and you need to do it. That is fulfillment.
Yeah.
Fulfillment is like when you have acquired that, or maybe you're in the process of it. You know what I mean? And you're getting closer and closer and meeting those goals.
Yeah. We've talked about Dr. K on the podcast before. He talks a lot about Dharma. I think you. Yeah. And Dharma is in, I think it's Sanskrit for duty, and that word Dharma, it's not a one-to-one translation to duty in English, but it essentially is kind of that. It's that thing that you need to do.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily. I think what the actual definition is. It's really interesting because this is really interesting in regards to what we're discussing. I think the actual definition in Hindi or whatever, or Sanskrit is something along the lines of like that in which allows you to be uncomfortable or something like that. And it's like that in which allows you to like endure discomfort.
Yes. Yeah. And he described it. He used an analogy that was really good, where he says, imagine if someone points a gun in the back of your head, right? You're going to do what that person says so you don't get shot. You're going to do what you can to avoid that bullet entering your brain, right? If someone's in front of you and like holding you a gun, you're like, all right, man, like just tell me what you want to do. Yeah. I'm going to avoid, you're going to do your best to avoid that bullet. But what if someone points a gun at your children's head? You go towards that bullet. You see the difference? The first one is you're avoiding that danger, and the second, you're going towards the danger.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the dharma. That's the destiny. That's the purpose. That's fulfillment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it's where like you said, you endure the pain. You endure that negative emotion because that is your duty. Assuming that your purpose is to protect your kids and take the bullet for them, right?
I would say that assuming that there's like concrete truth to these concepts, fulfillment is found within doing your duty, your dharma.
Yeah.
I would say that is where you find fulfillment.
Your destiny.
But it's really, for me personally, it's really hard for me to imagine jumping in front of a bullet for anybody, even my kids.
Yeah.
Really hard for me to imagine.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's...
but I don't have kids, so...
Yeah.
That could be part of it, right? But, yeah, yeah. Anyways,
I'd like to say I would do it. But, I mean, I don't know if until it happens. You know what I mean?
But what do you see yourself doing? I feel like we know what we see ourselves doing. What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I see myself doing my best to like not. Well, it's such a very specific situation.
It is, and it's obviously the one that we can't actually literally put ourselves in.
You know, like that's why it's like I feel like I can't even like.
Okay, but I feel like the best way to replicate it is like who's the person you love the most. You don't have to say because that might be.
What do you mean?
There are humans on this earth. You know a certain amount of them. Out of those people that you know, who do you love the most?
Oh, gotcha. Probably my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, and
would you jump in front of a bullet for her?
Shit.
Bro, there's no right answer.
I don't know.
You really don't know?
I get. Part of me wants to say no.
I mean, I don't want to fucking influence your answer. So, like I said, there's no right answer. There's literally no right answer. I just don't understand why. Like, I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't jump in front of a bullet for anybody. Like, I just can't think of it. I can't think of someone who I jump in front of a bullet for right now.
Like, I can't picture myself. Like, I can't even, because I know, like, my mom wouldn't even be happy if I did that.
I mean, it also just, I mean, especially in that scenario, it doesn't make sense. You have so much more life to live, right?
Exactly. And, like, she would take she was like, no, like, point the gun at me. Like, she would take the bullet from me. Because she's like, lived her life, and she's essentially, like, you know, gone to a point where it's like, you know, you put the value on a scale, and she values my life to that extent. That's me. And it's like, I feel like she, like, if I did that, like, I feel like, I don't know, that's almost like selfish or something. That's not selfish, but like no, dude, like, come on, like, that's not it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, because I just knowing my mom, I would know that she would not want me to take the bullet. She'd rather take the bullet.
Yeah. I actually find it really interesting, the thought of, like, why you'd take the bullet. I think some people would take the bullet because they would feel like you know how, like, how, you know, the experiment, or the social experiment of, like, if there's one person on the train track,
Yeah.
right, and there's a bunch of people,
thought experiment.
what do you do, right? What do you do? And it's like, do you switch it over to kill one person to save, like, 3 people, but then you killed someone, and it's this idea of, like, if you do nothing, you didn't kill anybody. And it's really this idea of, like, what is your responsibility, right? What is the responsibility that you hold when you see someone in danger, more specifically in a in a lethal situation? And it kind of is similar to, like, is it lying if you don't tell the truth? Like, if you didn't say anything that wasn't true, but you also didn't tell them the truth.
Yeah.
Is that lying? If you knew like, if you knew something and you didn't say it, right? And you knew that they wanted it, right? Like, what do you think? Do you think that's lying? Do you think that they're a murderer if they do something? Because I would say, very logically, it makes them a murderer if they take action and choose to kill one person, even if it saves 4 people. It still makes them, like, a murderer. Yeah. It's just they're also a savior of 4 or 5 people, and so it's like the savior kind of balances out the murder. But they're still a murderer, and if they do nothing, logically they're not a murderer because they didn't touch it.
Right.
They weren't a part of that situation. It's completely separate from them.
Right. But then, ironically, people get mad because they did nothing. And
exactly.
Now 5 people died.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then, ironically,
by doing nothing, they're like,
you basically killed 5 people. Exactly.
And it's
just like, whoa, it's fucking paradox. Crazy, right?
There's I was playing the Spider-Man game, the recent one that came out. And spoilers alert. And so basically, at the end of the game, your Aunt May, right? She gets sick with this, like, whole toxin or whatever, and she gets, like, starts coughing, and she's on her last days. And Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he finally finds the cure after defeating Dr. Octopus, and he has one sample, and he goes to her, and he can tell, and they both know that, like, she's not gonna make it for the next day. And so he goes to the doc. He's like, she's gonna die. Like, you know, can we, like, give this to her? And he's like, if you give it to her, then there won't be enough to sample and mass produce it. And so it was a really touching moment because, like, she's coughing and she's about to die, and she's like, there's blood and everything, and he's like crying, and he's just like, fuck, and he's like about to put it in, about to save her life, but he just, like, pulls back, and he just sits there in her bed crying, just holding her hand, because he knew the next day she died, but then everyone else lived because they got the cure.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know what I mean?
And you know what's fucking crazy? All the way back to the start. The difference between momentary satisfaction versus knowing that you're going to be doing something uncomfortable in the present moment, but it's going to lead to something that will, fulfill you. Well, he might not be fulfilled by that, but maybe you will. Point is,
Yeah.
are you going to sacrifice right now for here?
Yeah.
Right? And I won't go into it, but
Yeah.
fuck it, I will go into it. There's a balance to that. I feel like there's a balance to that, right? I mean, people talk about like 60 now, 40 later, shit like that. I don't know if there's actual fucking, the perfect algorithm
What
equation
do you mean there's
for it.
balance to that?
There's balance to doing for now and doing for later.
Yes.
Because
yes,
if you
totally
live
agree with
live
that.
too much in the now, obviously you're gonna be fucked later.
Yeah.
If you live too much in the later, obviously you're gonna hate your fucking life.
Yes.
That was me not that long ago. Like doing everything for something later.
Yeah.
Everything I fucking did was for a result. And that's very result oriented, right?
Yeah.
You can't live result oriented. You can't live for the future, because if you're constantly living for the future, when are you going to actually live? When are you going to enjoy what you're living for? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like if you're constantly putting away money, but you never buy something for the rest of your life, why did you stash away the money?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Like, what's the
Just
point of the
spend
money?
it, bro. Just to know that you have money? Like, no, don't fucking do that. It's retarded,
No,
right?
exactly.
So it's the idea of like, what do I spend now? Do I spend later? Why do I even need money if I'm not going to spend it? Well, I should spend it. And how much should I spend? Because I need to save, right? And that's really, that's how life is. Life is really an investment. It's an emotional investment. It's a time investment. It's an energy investment. And so, yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, and I think when you said that you have to balance it, I think that's a total thing. Like I what the fuck did I just say? I think that's
don't
a
know.
total thing. No, when you said there's a balance between balancing this fulfillment and balancing this happiness, because not all situations will reward what Peter Parker did for some reason. Like, depending on the situation, that very action doesn't mean that's a good thing.
No, for sure. I mean,
like,
there's a universe. I mean, yeah. I mean, even if we take that, and this might be not what you're talking about, you can clarify. But even if we take that specific scenario, let's say that he does it, and then everybody else is alive, and every single fucking day he goes to sleep knowing that his mother died right in front of him, and he doesn't care because he doesn't know all the fucking people who lived, but he knew the person who died,
Right.
And that shit eats him alive every fucking night.
Yeah, and that could, right, and that's exactly, but throughout the game you don't see that. You see that, like, and I agree with you. And one specific thing that really we're gonna highlight this is on the Avatar. I don't know if you've ever seen it, The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
You've seen the last episode?
No.
Can I spoil it for you?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
Okay. Spoilers alert on the last Avatar. So basically, on the last episode, one of the last episodes, he's struggling to come with the fact that he has to kill Fire Lord Ozo, the guy, the big bad guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying kill him. You have to kill him. You have to kill him. He's done too much shit, and he's a monk. He grows. He's been taught that all life is precious, even a fly. And he's a vegetarian. Like, that's against his thing. And so he has the ability to like talk to his like past lives and like get wisdom from them. And so he goes on this like weird rock, and like during the like one of the last episodes, and it's like a floating rock, like it's just floating through the river. And he's sitting there, and so he's just like talking to his past lives, and he's like, yo, like, what do I do? Because I'm really confused here. All my life I've been taught all life is precious, and yet you're telling me to kill this guy, to kill him and just get him out. Like, that's not, we're not him. That's the idea. And so he goes through his past lives, a fire guy, a waterbender guy, an earth guy, and they're all basically like, look, you got to do what you got to do. Like, some of them don't give him very useful advice. Some of them are just like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, you know what? I'll talk to the airbender, my airbender past lives. And she was like, look, I get it. Like, you were raised to, be a monk and preserve all life that you can. But she goes, that's not your duty, though. You're the avatar. Your purpose is here is to protect this world. Meaning, your duty is to be the avatar. Meaning, you need to do what you can and what you have to. And it's basically saying, like, fuck the monks, kill them, basically, because that's your duty. You have to protect this. And so he goes, shit. And he's like, damn, like, I guess I gotta kill him. And so turns out that he was on this like lion turtle thing, and they're like ancient beings in the show. And so like it starts talking to him, and like the lion turtle like touches his forehead and his heart, and like green flashes happen, and then like it turns into white. And so he fights Fire Lord Ozar, defeats him, and he's about to like like he's all pinned down, and so he's in his avatar mode, and he like looks at him, and it looks like he's about to kill him, and he just like grabs his forehead, and just like what happens is like their skin like just disappears, and Avatar is blue and Fire Lord is red. And so you hear like the quote that the lion turtle was telling Avatar when he first gave him like touched him. And basically what the lion turtle did is he gave him the power to remove people's bendings. To remove people's bendings. He gave him that power. And so it was a very powerful moment where Fire Lord Ozar, his red was going towards Avatar's like blue body, and it was like a disease, it was like crawling all over him, and it was saying, and the quotes was saying like, do not give in, like you have to be your own, and like don't give in to corruption, because then you are equally the same amount. And it's like eating him alive. It's covering his mouth, and it's like covering everything, and it's just like this little eye right here that's just blue, and it's like you you create your own destiny and all this shit, and it's like right, and it becomes all blue again, and he like comes back, and he just covers Firelord Ozar with all his blue energy, and just and then boom, he takes away his bending. And that was a very, very, oh my God, this is a kid show. This is why I fucking love this show.
It's fucking insane.
It's so beautiful. And that was such a powerful moment, because what that said, that red represented corruption. That red represented the social pressure that he was feeling from everyone around him, saying, you need to kill him, you need to kill him. And that's what he wants. Firelord Ozar, that's what he wants. He wants him to kill him, because he knows that when you kill me, you've crossed that line. You have crossed that line, and there is no going back.
He knows when you kill me, I'm no longer a bad guy.
Exactly.
Because if you're a good guy and you kill people, what does that make me? I kill people too.
Exactly. And he knew that. And the whole world was telling him, the whole universe was telling him, no, don't do, like kill him. But it was until he looked in the universe's eye and said, fuck you, I'm going to do the way I want to fucking do it. It's that looking at the universe, and it's telling you no, and go, fuck you, universe, I'm going to do it anyways. And it's that last of like, he's creating his own destiny. He's like, fuck what everybody says, I'm going to do it. And that's such a powerful moment, because that's the moment when you don't let the corruption get to you. That's the moment when your blue energy overcomes the red, when you truly believe that. Yeah. And it's just like, that's destiny. Yeah. That's purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And that was awesome. That was a very cool visual. And yeah.
That reminds me of something. This idea of like, what should I do?
Yeah.
This idea of should. What's the right way to live my life? What's the right way to make decisions? And I think I can't help but feel like we have all of the answers. Yeah. All of us. We all have the answers. Like, it's to talk about Dr. K again, because I guess we'll just fucking continue talking about him. When he does his sessions, his interviews, he says it at the beginning and he says it at the end. Every fucking time. Not every time, but a lot of times he'll say, I don't give you any answers. I don't, you're the one who has everything. You have all the answers. I just help you put it together. Yeah. You have all the puzzle pieces. I just put the puzzle pieces together and show you the puzzle, but you're the one with the puzzle pieces. Yeah. And so, and obviously it's like some people can't put together the puzzle. And like, I don't know if it's possible to just put the puzzle together, right? If you just think hard enough and like try enough, then you can just put it together. Like, I don't know if that's possible, but I am confident that we do within ourselves have all of the answers. Yeah. And with that in mind, it's like, it really begs the question, like, do we all just know what we should do? Like, do we all know what we should always do? And then It just really depends on if we listen to that.
Yeah.
Right. And that voice in us that knows what we should do, it gets skewed. It gets fucking twisted, and the way it speaks gets twisted, and we take it out of context, and all this shit, and it gets overshadowed by all these other voices. But like, I feel like there's just always that voice in the back of your head. You know what you should do. And I feel like it always goes back to like this truly self-serving way of life. And I feel like we as humans, deep down, we're programmed to want and to benefit from what's best for the whole.
Yeah.
Like, something really interesting. Who's the good parent? Is the good parent the parent who's, a kid wants a candy bar, right? And the parent says, no, you can't have a candy bar. We're going to go home. I'm going to cook you a healthy dinner. And that's the end of it. Kid's crying. Kid wants a candy bar. His parent says, no candy bar. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no. Or maybe he doesn't say I'm sorry. Says, fuck you. Or the parent that says, man, he's so sad. And also, it's just a candy bar. Fuck it. Like, it's not a big deal, right? Okay, yeah, sure. Get the candy bar. And the kid eats the candy bar and they move on with their life. Who's the good parent? Who's the bad parent? Now, obviously, there's no right answer, but I don't think either is bad, but I think one's better. And I think the parent who does what they know the child needs, even if it's not going to make them happy happy at all, but especially happy in the moment. Like, there's just something about like knowing what needs to be done, even if people aren't going to like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, knowing that you need to say the truth, even though it's going to hurt everybody. Right.
Yeah.
I'm fucking rambling my ass off, but yeah, there's something interesting about that, and it kind of goes back into I don't know if this was on the podcast or if this was like our conversation last night, because the audience doesn't know, but we talked last night we had a great fucking discussion, and it was like 4 hours.
Dude, literally the sun was coming up.
Yeah,
that was insane.
I was driving home in like almost daylight.
That was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That was bizarre.
But I think it might have been during that in which we talked about how like it's so funny how like ultimately usually the thing that's going to make me, the said person, the happiest is the thing that's also going to work out for everybody else. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like selfishness, like pure selfishness. And I guess because oh my God, I had a conversation with my father today about kindness. He was telling me about how like he really does see me as someone who's really kind-hearted. And I found it really interesting because I don't agree with that at all. I think I'm incredibly selfish. But then it really led me to question, well, what is kindness? And of course we can Google it, but I'm starting to think that I feel like kindness is a kind person is a person who chooses, if there's a scenario in which I win and you lose, and then there's a scenario in which I win and you win, I'm going to choose that one.
The win-win.
Exactly. But if there's a scenario in which I lose and you win, I'm not going to choose that.
That's what kindness is?
I think that's what kindness is. I think that's what kindness is.
I agree with you.
Right? It's you knowing I have to come before everyone else. I have to. I owe it to myself to come before everyone else. But if there's a way, if there's a fucking way, and you get creative with it, if there's a way that I can win and everyone else can win, that's what I choose.
Yes.
Every time, 100% of the time.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think that's... yeah.
But if I can't, I'm sorry. I got to go with the shit for me.
That's a really good way of putting it. I totally agree with that.
And so I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? With that definition, yeah, I'm an extremely kind person. With that definition.
Yeah. No, but, for sure. It's realizing your value and not pegging yourself down.
Not putting yourself below someone else, because like ultimately, like humility is great, man. It's nice, but ultimately, and this isn't the same as humility, by the way. But
no,
but like the idea of humility, the idea of this humble man who serves everyone and puts them in, and lets himself get walked over. It's like no. You're just as valuable as everyone else. The difference is you're also you.
Yeah.
Which It gives you that extra 0.0000001% because it's also you. How can you save someone who's drowning if you're drowning as well? Right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you can't fuck, what am I saying? You can't contribute to the world if you are drowning.
Yeah.
Right?
There's that saying, you can't love someone until you love yourself.
Exactly. Right? And it's just like you can't do for others unless you've done for yourself. Like, and it's really just like, and I think often with that saying, you can't love others unless you love yourself. It's said within a context of that's how you learn to love. You learn to love by loving yourself. But I disagree. I think you can learn to love other people without learning to love yourself.
Yeah.
I think in order to go about loving others correctly, you need to love yourself first.
Yes. Yes.
And
In fact, like you said, you can learn to love yourself by loving others.
yeah.
Like reverse, like
Yeah, you can.
right?
You can.
Because you love them incorrectly, which leads you to learn to love yourself correctly, and then you can love others correctly after. It's like bad relationship. Oh shit, I was loving him incorrectly. You're single now. You learn to love yourself.
Well, I'm not sure. Are you saying that because you loved incorrectly, that taught you how to love correctly?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, you just learned and self-reflected.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know how it directly teaches you. I'm asking. I'm not saying. I'm asking. Because I agree that you can learn to love someone the right way, and then by doing that, you learn to love yourself the right way. But I'm wondering if how you learn to love yourself the right way by loving someone the wrong way.
I don't know. That's just kind of like, isn't it just like a trial and error type of thing?
Yeah, I get. I mean, yeah. I mean, ultimately, yeah. Maybe fuck it. Let's drop it. Because ultimately, you are right. Like, you can find how to do something by learning what not to do. Right. Like,
It's like that saying, like a wise man learns from his mistakes, and
Yeah.
a more wise man learns from others.
true. You know what? Let's talk about that because I fucking hate that saying, and maybe I just hate it because I'm insecure because I am really poor at learning from others people's mistakes. Like I gotta go through that shit myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really poor about learning from other people's mistakes, and I think part of it is because of like my ego, and more so like my arrogance, because I'm like, okay, you know what? They fucked up, but they're not me. And they ain't me, homie. And so I think to myself, like, I could probably do it better, and I could probably do it right.
Well, that you're essentially following that quote. It's just, for example, like someone goes out the village and tries to build a new village, right? And they fucking die. Mm-hmm. A wise man would go, well, why did they die?
For sure.
What did they do wrong? And that way, I can improve on what they did, and to increase a better chance. And that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, and you know,
Right?
you know what's really beautiful about what you just said?
What?
There's one word. One word. Can you guess the word?
No.
Try.
Oh.
Think back to what you said.
Wise?
There you go. Why did they die? Not how did they die.
Yeah.
They died by leaving the village or whatever the fuck, right?
And that's not
Don't
wise.
leave the village.
Yeah,
Because that's how they died. No.
not wise.
Why did they die?
Exactly. And so I think you're taking it the wrong way. You're seeing it as as like superficial, as to a face value.
Yeah,
When there's
surface level, yeah.
You know, the deeper meaning to it. Like, and that's what it means. It's a wise man learns why they failed, and then they're able to improve on that. Essentially.
Yeah, and you know what? Ultimately, I mean, yeah. Once again, yeah. I mean, I think you're entirely correct. The crazy thing is like the way I've been brought up with this saying, because I've heard it multiple times, and the way I feel contextually it's been implied that learning from other people's mistakes means not repeating what they do.
Yeah, it could be used as fear, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, learn from this person's mistake. He, just arbitrary example. He didn't go to college, and now he's fucking broken sad. Learn from his mistake. It's like,
And it's like, well, how is he broken?
exactly. How is he broken sad? There's people who don't go to college, and they don't all end up broken sad. So why is he broken sad? Why? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, that's good stuff for sure. Interesting. It really does bring a new meaning to that saying.
But here's the thing. There's also like, it's even in the saying, a wise man learns from his mistake. That's the key word.
Yeah.
And a more wise man learns from others' mistake. Key word, learns. It's not learning by, I mean, I guess it's a very superficial learning.
It's a very superficial learning.
Of saying like, oh, this person went broke because they went to
You know what? Fuck it. It's not learning. It's knowing.
Yeah.
It's knowing. That's what it is. It's
Yes,
fucking
dude.
knowing.
It's
It's not
knowing.
understanding.
Exactly.
And learning is understanding something.
Psycho, baby. Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
dude. Oh
Yeah.
man, we're back in the beginning.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We did this shit with the ego. It's funny because this episode's not even. It's kind of, sort of not about learning versus or knowing versus understanding, but
Yeah, it just
kind of
came
is
back.
now.
Yeah.
But
No, and I think everything what we've just talked about relates to this question: is the most important purpose in life to find happiness? And we had to break down fucking
I mean,
happiness.
it kinda. We broke down happiness very well. Yeah. But I definitely don't feel like that we covered. I don't feel like there was. I feel like this episode. If we stop right here, this was much more about knowing versus understanding. Much more about that.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
I
much more
disagree.
about
I think it was about destiny and fulfillment.
That's true. Fuck, you're right. We did talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
But okay, fuck it. Back to the question: is the most important purpose of life happiness? No.
No, it's not.
And you know what I love about that? What I love about that is at first I thought it was yes. I was going to answer yes. But I'm really happy that you went, well, I guess I wouldn't have mind being wrong. But the
Right.
point is, I'm glad that, I don't know. I like your take a lot. And I agree with it. I think the most important thing in life is fulfillment. But god damn, is that a really fucking rough one, right?
Yeah.
And the craziest part about fulfillment is people's definition of it is so fucked up, man.
Yeah.
People think fulfillment is happiness, but it really isn't. Fulfillment is that doing of which you know you must.
Yes.
Right? It's not doing of which is going to make you happy. It's doing of which you know you must.
Yeah.
Or else. And we talked about this last night. Again, I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but we talked about how, or you were talking to me about how, I'm the kind of person that like, there's certain things that I just know I have to do. And if I don't do them, I know, but I know that for the rest of my life, I'm going to like look back at that thing and regret.
Yeah.
I just know it. I just fucking know it and I have to do it. And of course it's the kind of thing where it's just like, well, how do you know you've never done it? Exactly. Because I know I have to fucking do it. Why would I do it if I know, right? So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, anyways. So
Yeah, no. And yeah, I like how you said like the fulfillment and happiness definitions can be really skewed.
Yeah.
It can be really just flip-flopped and
yeah,
viewed as the same
interchangeable.
when, when they're really not.
Yeah, they're not.
One comes from a very primitive side of the brain, and the other comes from like a conscious side of a brain.
Oh God, couldn't have been said better. Yeah, one's very primitive. It's surface level. It's primitive, and then the other is fuck it. No, you know what? One comes from your mind, and the other comes from your consciousness.
Yeah.
And what's beautiful about that is at the beginning of this, I was trying to understand how this plays into the difference between your mind and your consciousness. But your mind, and we talked about this last night. Again, I don't know if it's on the fucking podcast or if it was in our conversation. I'm gonna keep on fucking saying that because I don't want to say something and then like not repeat myself. Anyways, but last night we talked about how fuck. What do we talk about? Has to do with mind versus consciousness. Last night we talked about fuck. Oh, this is so relevant though.
Talking about mind and consciousness. And,
yeah, it has to do with how
primitive side,
the mind is momentary, and the mind isn't wise.
Yeah.
Your mind has no wisdom, and this is how we form habits. This is the reason why we form habits, because we when we live because the mind is in the moment. Then I think I'm wrong about this, but I'm gonna fucking say it anyways, and I'm gonna embrace my wrongness, and I'm probably gonna be wrong about this, but I don't give a fuck. So because the mind is in the moment, then essentially like, I'm sad today. I'm gonna drink some alcohol. Like, let me try drinking alcohol. You drink alcohol, you're no longer sad. Okay, great, it worked. I'm just gonna do that every single time I'm sad. Works for me, right?
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
got my solution, and that's what your mind says. Then you form a habit, and you don't even do this actively. You do it subconsciously. You come home, pop a beer, fucking have a few of them, and you're feeling good now. And
Yeah.
now you're no longer sad. Now you no longer are pissed about how shitty your job is, right?
Right.
And so it's like, this is your mind at work. This is your mind forming habits because it doesn't know any better. It doesn't know that, like, yeah, dude, 4 years from now, like, you're gonna have this gross ass beer belly, and you're also gonna have done you're not gonna have improved anything in your fucking life, and you didn't work on anything because the fact that you were content in the moment, and you just kept on being content in the moment. But your consciousness, I feel like your consciousness knows that. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why we try to escape our consciousness, because our consciousness, I feel like, is the most present when we are present, right? Which is kind of contradictory, but anyways. Because I talk about how the mind is in the moment, but I don't fucking know. The mind isn't wise. And so therefore it does things for the moment because it can't see beyond the moment.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way. No, that's a good way to see, because and the consciousness focuses on the future. Or
Kind of. That's the where we get fucked up, because I don't believe consciousness focuses on the future. In fact, I think consciousness is presence. But I think there's something about the consciousness in which it's like it has the ability of foresight.
yeah.
You know? It has the ability to, like, look into the future. But
Foresight reminds me of that Pokemon move.
lol. Wait, what is that move? Do you, like, predict the enemy's move or some shit like that?
I don't know. I don't know what it does.
I don't want to Google this. I want to Google, but I don't want to Google.
Yeah, you
It's not
You
worth
should totally Google
Okay,
it,
I'll
bro.
fucking Google
Is
it.
it foresight? Is that what the
I
move's
think
called?
that's a move. Yeah, I think it is a move.
Or doesn't it, like, it identifies one of its moves? Like you know what.
Foresight also. Okay, wait. What does Foresight do in Pokemon? Foresight is a normal type move from Generation 2. Foresight is able to identify the enemy Pokemon's. Foresight is able to identify the enemy's Pokemon and allows you to hit the enemy with moves that wouldn't normally work. Oh, what the fuck?
Wait, what?
What?
Say that
Yeah.
again? What?
It says Foresight is able to identify the enemy's Pokemon and allows you to hit the enemy with moves that wouldn't normally work. For example, normal and fighting type moves wouldn't work on a ghost type.
Oh, and
I don't get how that fucking works. That's how what Foresight is. What? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Interesting.
Fuck this game, bro.
Well, what do you mean, fuck this guy?
I don't know. It doesn't make. How is that Foresight? Oh, because I can foresee the future. Suddenly, I now break the laws of physics. What? What? You still can't hit a ghost, even if you know where it's gonna be.
It's a game, bro.
Fuck the game, bro. That shit better make sense. And Avatar is just a fucking cartoon anime.
That's
It's just a kid show.
That's true.
Bro. They don't settle for just. We're just some fucking deep ass monk type shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
Avatar's
man.
so good, bro. I love that shit.
It's so fucking good. It's really interesting. Do you think kid shows are still, like, of the same quality? And I feel like that's a question every generation probably asks, man. The generation before us probably looks at other shows and are like, man, the good old days, shows are different. But, do you think kid shows nowadays? I don't watch kid shows nowadays, but do you think they're probably still of the same quality?
I think there's some,
Probably.
And
I think there are some, yeah.
and I think there was a lot that weren't even that good back then. That's why.
True.
That's
true.
There's diamonds in the rough everywhere.
Yeah.
You just gotta know where to find them.
Big facts.
You
All right, I want to see how long this. Maybe you should reach. I want to see how long it's been, and then we can decide if we want to go to a question.
Oh, it's been like an hour. No, because we haven't been talking on the specific subject for a while.
Well, yeah. Also, I think we ran it for a while before. So we can probably do another question.
Probably like 45 to 30
All right,
minutes.
put an R on the question. Have you been keeping up with the R's?
Ours.
Oh, the checks. My bad. Checks.
Yes. I have.
Does life require a purpose and a goal?
This goes back to the similar question. Are we obligated?
Yeah, this is way too similar.
Yeah.
Because this purpose and goal, it dips into, like, duty, right? Dharma, right? I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, man, fuck that.
What is happiness? We've covered that.
We cover that shit too. So
multiple
fuck that.
times.
All right, we gotta put some fucking checks on this shit or something, or delete them.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we just remember. Is it easier to love or be loved?
This depends.
This is because I don't think this is gonna be too deep to dive into. So fuck it. Let's do that. Let's do this one. Yeah, delete those. You're reaching, honey. All right. Is it easier to love or to be loved? Is the question. Should I start this one off?
Yeah.
Is it easier to love? Oh, fuck, keep on bumping it. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you guys. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna be loud and annoying and obnoxious, and you fuckers are gonna stand it all because it's about me, and I'm gonna be fucking comfortable. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna be loud. I don't give a fuck.
I'm gonna just edit. I'm just gonna like downgrade that audio right there, bro. I'm just gonna be
Go
like,
for it, man. I gotta piss so bad.
might as well just mute your ass there, bro.
Right, just I know. I'm just like that'd be funny as fuck. Okay. Yeah, I think. So the question is, I think the question really is, what is it to be loved? Does being loved require you receiving the love? Because obviously, it's much easier to be loved. You can just be loved and like not even know it. You can be loved and not even feel it, right? Like if your parents love you, you know, you don't even have, you can't even.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's easier to be loved than to love because being loved doesn't require action. But I think the question is more like receiving love, right? Feeling loved. Is it easier to feel love or to feel loved? To feel love for someone else or to feel love from someone else I think is the question, because the other way doesn't make sense. So the question is it easier to feel love for someone else or to feel loved by someone else? I mean, ultimately, it depends on who the kind of person you are, and it depends on the circumstances or whatever. I mean, fuck it. Let's just say it, whatever traumas you grew up with as a kid, right? Because some people have an innate low self-worth, and they don't. I mean, me, right? And they don't. Something that I do is I consistently. I'm so skeptical of a person, especially people who are like illogically nice to me. People who are nice to me and I can't see what the fuck they're getting out of it, I'm so skeptical. Because I'm like, you know, if they're nice to me, just small talk, okay, cool. Yeah, you just don't want it to be awkward. Okay, so that's fine. If they're nice to me and it's because I'm like their boss, or it's nice to me because, you know, because I can provide them with something, and I was like, okay, makes sense. Cool. If they're nice to me and there ain't a damn thing I could do for them, I'm like, what the fuck is up with you, man?
Yeah.
Like, are you just doing this because it makes you feel better about yourself?
Uh-huh.
Because you can go home at night and tell yourself that you're a nice person because you were nice to me? Because if that's the case, then it's like, okay, cool. But it's weird. But I know, I truly believe that comes from a place of me believing somewhere that I don't deserve to just be treated nicely.
At least you're aware of that.
Yeah, and I mean it's awareness is such a beautiful, important thing. You know, when you're aware of it, you can understand it, right? You can learn to understand it. You can begin to understand it, and then when you understand it, you no longer have to fix it. Because, anyways, yeah, fucking. How did it scroll up? Nobody touched anything.
I don't know. That's weird.
It's fucking weird. We can still see it though. Ghost hand. Yeah. Is it easier to be easier to love or be loved? I'm not sure how much deeper I should go into this without you talking, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah. This one's not a yes or no answer. I think it all comes down to what you've been through as a person. Some people, only child with really loving, supportive parents. My ex, bro, she wasn't an only child, but she was pampered to shit. Yeah, the idea of her not being loved naturally by everybody is just incomprehensible. It's like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you love me? What? It's the difference between innocent until proven guilty or guilty until proven innocent, right? Some people feel like they need to earn it. They are guilty until proven innocent. They don't they don't deserve love until they earn the love. And then other people feel like they deserve to be loved until they do something that warrants not being loved. And even that's not too accurate, because the truth is, I feel like what it really comes down to is some people have an inherent, fuck it. I think it comes down to self-love, quite honestly. When you love yourself, when you love yourself, you can accept love from others.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right? Because you can appreciate yourself, and you can understand, you can comprehend why someone else would appreciate you.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And when you don't love yourself, you don't understand why someone would appreciate you. Do I really not love myself?
I don't know.
I don't think so, man. I think I'm just skeptical. I know there's like self-worth issues within me, but I think I love myself a lot, man. It's a
Maybe
hard
you
one.
love your ego.
I don't know if I don't think I love my ego.
I think you do.
Elaborate. Do I love the concept of my ego, or do I love what my ego is? Like that the me that is my ego. Are you talking about that? I love that.
Yes. You love that more than
the identity that's made out of ego is what you're saying.
Yes. You love the man upstairs more than the little gremlin down in the basement.
No. No. I think if you believe that, then I don't want you to feel attacked, by the way. But I think if you believe that, then it's because my ego makes it look like that.
Yes. Yes.
I think in an egotistical way, I give off the impression that I love my ego.
Yes.
But I think deep down inside, no. I think deep down inside, it is the demon in my closet. It's not the gremlin, but it is the mirror that I look into, and I see like the shadow me. And I know that, like, if I could just figure out how to be stronger than that person, than the ego me. Have you seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
Yes.
The Shadow Scott. You remember that thing in the end, right? That guy. Obviously, he's a nice guy in the fucking show, but
kind of forgot how it went.
Fuck. Well, he's a nice. Fuck.
Don't they become cool or something like that?
Yeah, they become cool because it's a comedy. But at first he's like this evil version of him, right? And he's basically, if Scott's a good guy, he's a hero. That's like his exact polar opposite, just the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, I have mixed feelings. Yeah, there are parts of my ego that I do like. I know I don't love it, though. I know I don't love it, and I know I don't love it because of the fact that, like, maybe that's the issue. Maybe I need to love it. Maybe I need to. Maybe loving it is fully accepting it, and then through that, I will be able to transcend it. I don't know if that. I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying now.
It was an inside joke.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Imagine if we had like accidentally left the camera on for some of that shit, bro.
Oh, I know, man. That was
but it got really deep, though. It got really personal. And that's the difference.
Deep.
We don't get personal in here. We talk about other shit. We don't really talk too much about us.
That's true. That's true.
But that was all us.
Okay. My turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it easier to love or to be loved? Right? And then you said feel. Yeah, essentially, is it easier to feel love or
feel love for someone or to feel loved by someone?
Okay. Yeah, no, I have to agree with you on this one. It really does depend. It really does depend on the person.
Yeah,
you know? And
it depends on what their walk's been like, and what it depends on what love they've been shown. Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to, right? You can't know something you haven't been shown. You can't. And that's not to say that being shown something is as surface level as you'd think, because we also talked about how everybody has the right answer, right? Everybody has the answers. We all have the answers because I believe that we've all been shown everything.
Yeah.
Just depends on what the fuck you paid attention to.
Yes.
But I truly 100% wholeheartedly believe we all have the answers to our problems, and we've been taught the answers to our problems through life every fucking time. Time and time again, we've been taught the answers. It's just like, just because you have posters around you with equations doesn't mean you actually look at them and you think about how they would actually work, and you like do thought experiments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
No. It's Well, elaborate on that.
It's like okay. It's a matter of taking the right lesson from something, and quite honestly, it's a matter of understanding and not knowing, right? Same thing with okay, tribal shit, right? He left the tribe and he died. This is why you don't leave the tribe, or he went out at night and died, and this is why you can't leave, or some, you know, that's bad. I don't like that. I'm gonna think of something.
Equations.
I said equations just because I wanted to do something quick, but it's not the best example. Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's like you can. It's really just the difference between knowing and understanding. You can, in life, you can know what's happening around you, right? I know that this homeless person asked me for money, and I know that I don't want to give them money, so I'm gonna not give them money. I don't fucking like this example either. Essentially, it's just like you can know something and you see it and you see it. You see it and you take it at face value for whatever it is, and you just move on with your life, and you catalog it in your brain as like, yeah, I know this thing. But like there's just a whole nother level to life in which, when you break shit down and you think about the intent behind it, and you think about like what did this actually all mean? What is there really, what is everything that I can take from this situation? You really like dig deep into it.
And so you use that mindset to elaborate how you love.
No. I that was all in regards to like we all have the answers, but really we all have the answers, but and we've been shown everything. And yeah, so it kind of is, because I was talking about how when we're brought up as a kid, it's all about what we're shown, the kind of love that we're shown. You know?
Yes. Yes. I see what you mean now. Yeah. Yeah. No. And you know, you take someone who's hasn't experienced a lot of love when they're younger, right? How can they feel something that they've never experienced before, right? This doesn't mean they can't like love someone, right? But it's like oh, that was a bad example.
It was pretty bad, but it's okay. We're both
Yeah, no.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because this is kind of hard. This is kind of hard to explain. Is it easier to feel love for someone, or is it easier to feel loved? I'm trying to see if there's like the correlation. Like I'm trying to find
If there's like a universal principle
I mean, yeah, but I'm trying to find the link.
between
Yes.
between what?
Between feeling loved and feeling love for someone.
When you say link, are you talking about link between those two things,
Yes.
or link between the things that create those two things? So like
I guess both.
if this is feeling loved, and then this is loving someone, right? Giving and receiving, right? And you have those two. Are you trying to link them, or link them to the cause, to what leads to the thing?
To the cause, so I can see how they're linked.
I don't know that they're linked. Ultimately, I don't know that they're linked. I don't know that there is a link between giving and receiving.
Okay.
It might be.
So then let's go to
I
the
think
cause
that's
then.
kind of a good way of looking at it, though. Giving and receiving. I mean, it's basic, but it's the concept of like some people say that they're bad gift receivers, like they're bad at receiving gifts, and a lot of people feel that for a lot of different reasons, because some people are like, if you give them a gift, they feel like they're entitled to you now, or they feel like, or not entitled to. They feel like they're in debt to you,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
and they don't
yeah.
like that burden. They don't like that debt. Or some people, they feel like they're in debt. They owe you a reaction, and they don't know how they should react, and and so they're like bad gift receivers, because they're just not used to receiving. And then some people are bad gift givers because they don't know what people want, and they don't understand, like they don't know what people are into because they don't pay enough attention to people.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so they don't know what would really make them happy.
Amazon gift card only has its limits,
Yeah.
man,
Dude, the crazy thing about it, man, I remember growing up, it was like people, like they would always like, what do I get you as a gift? Brody, a $20 bill does just fine. More would also be cool too, but but honestly, some of the most beautiful gifts I got were the ones that weren't money, and because it's just representative of that they know you,
Yeah.
that they really know you.
Yeah. Those are really cool gifts.
The gift you got me was really cool.
Oh,
The gift
yeah.
Chris got me was really cool too.
What did he get you?
He got me the Saba. He got me the Saba vinyl.
Oh, that's
Care
dope.
for me.
That's
Dude. Man, that
dope,
one
dude.
that one felt really good too,
That's
because
dope, dude.
because I had talked about how much I love that album, but I wasn't obnoxious about it. I just
Yeah,
said like
no.
I really like this album. I think this is my favorite album of the year, and I just talked about it a decent amount, and then I stopped talking about it, and then randomly he just surprised me with it, and I was like, this is fucking cool.
That's dope, dude. You know, it's
Super
funny because I was listening to that album with him, and he was talking about how much you love that album.
Yeah.
And this was after that. And it was like, yeah, like Jordan fucking loves this album. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, huh.
Yeah, no, it's such a beautiful album. If you guys haven't listened to "Care for Me" by Saba, just give it a listen. I feel like it hasn't aged well. I'll be honest. I listen to it now, and I don't nearly have the same love for it. But just listen to it. Listen to it. Listen to the lyrics, and it's the kind of lyrics that are like, they have levels to them, right? You can look at them at face value, right? Same shit like mumble rap, like get my bread up and this type of shit. You can listen to it at that level and enjoy it. It sounds really good. It's really good. There's a lot to it. Fuck. Should I even go into this?
No.
Okay. Then I won't. Okay.
But it's good. And just give it a listen.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess where do we leave off when it comes to giving and receiving?
Giving and receiving, yeah. I mean, quite honestly, we've answered this.
I mean, I'm still kind of like a little.
You want to understand it better?
Yeah, I feel like I don't understand it.
Okay, that's fair.
You know why? So we basically came to the conclusion that it's not easier either way because it's just so subjective and it depends.
Exactly, and there is no easier, because we're answering these questions from a universal perspective, right? As truth and untrue, right? So like, what's the meaning of a good life? Like we answered that like from a truthful, like, unbiased kind of like, this is just what it is, right? And we did answer it from our perspectives, but we answered it from our perspective of what we believe is true. But I don't think there is any truth to loving and being loved, whether it's easier.
So what makes it easier for someone to feel love? Like what
would happen in their life that would make it easy for them?
Yeah, like what would happen?
Perfect example.
Ideally.
Let's just use my fucking ex. She's a psychopath. She cannot feel empathy.
Okay.
Because she cannot empathize, it's a lot easier. Because she cannot empathize, which is to feel what someone else feels, she can only feel what she feels.
Okay.
Which means when she's feeling something, it's what she's feeling. When you live a life of only feeling what you feel, you get really good at loving yourself, but you're really shit at loving other people.
Okay, so I want to picture a life of not a sociopath, of a psychopath.
Yeah, of like a regular person.
Yeah,
I would say that someone who's not a psychopath, they become better at loving themselves than loving other people by,
like narcissism.
Kind of, yeah. By what they've been shown, and probably also partially like what their parents promote, like.
Interesting.
If their parents spent a lot of time pampering them, like affirming them, like basically like treating them to things, giving them what they want, and just being like, you know what, like, you know, it's because I
Spoiled.
love you. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, spoiling them. I feel like they're often going to be a lot better at loving themselves than loving others because there's. I mean, you know, ultimately, you know what? Let's do a callback. We and again, I don't know if this was on the podcast, but we talked about it. We did, and we talked about how the mind ultimately its goal, its job, is to adapt and survive, right? And so what is that? It's all necessity. So what does your mind need to do, or I guess need to learn, or like, is there a need to learn something, right? If you are being pampered and given, you don't need to learn how to give.
Right.
If
because
you're
it's
always
already,
if you're always taking, you don't need to learn how to give.
right, because it's like your brain's like, well, why?
Why would I give? I'm happy receiving.
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm happy receiving. Why would I start giving?
Why lose something that I want when I can just keep receiving more?
Exactly. And but then there's the flip side where it's like when people are constantly taking from you, taking, it's like you learn, oh, the only way I'm ever going to get something is if I give. That's the only way I'm going to get something. Because people are going to take from me whether I want it or not. Whether I give something to them or not, they're going to take from me. But if I want something in return, I'm going to have to give. And this is how people, when people are used, they learn to love.
Wow.
They learn to give, yes.
Wow. So do you think that they learn to give because they know they're going to receive back somehow, some way, or they learn to give because they just been told to give?
No, they learn to give out of necessity because ultimately we have to answer to ourselves. We do. And so when you have to answer to yourself and your psyche is saying, I'm really fucking sad. I'm really burnt out. Hey man, can we take a break? Cause I'm really tired and you've been doing a lot of things for a lot of people for a long time. Let's do something for us. I'm really fucking sad, depressed, like whatever the fucking case may be. I don't think you get anxious from that, but basically I'm really burnt out of life right now. Like I need to like rest or like we need to do something for us.
The givers,
and,
right?
And this is when they learn, this is, so yeah, they learn they we need love. And ultimately a giver's nirvana is learning to love themselves, right? Is learning to provide for themselves. But givers, I believe, become givers because they haven't been given, or because they haven't been given to. And so
Wait, hold on. What's nirvana?
I probably use it incorrectly. Nirvana is like an enlightened state of, it's like a pure bliss, I think. It's like I believe nirvana is like ecstasy, kind of. It's like the happiest state of mind, I think. I'm going to Google this shit real quick cuz
I'm curious. Put like definition because this will give you the band.
That's what I do. Nirvana in Buddhism, a transcendent state in which there is neither suffering, desire, nor a sense of self, and the subject is released from the effects of karma and the cycle of death and rebirth. It represents the final goal of Buddhism. Interesting.
Wow.
So it's basically transcending everything, I feel like.
Wow.
Because you don't have suffering or desire.
A second death.
Well, suffering or desire. Isn't that interesting? Desire is suffering.
Yes.
Isn't that so fucking interesting?
Yeah.
If you want something, you're suffering.
Yes, bro.
If you ever want something, you're suffering.
Yeah, dude.
We always want something.
You value something, suffer.
Exactly.
You're hoping for something, suffer.
Yeah. But any desire is suffering. That's so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Any desire is suffering. If you're sitting there, wherever the fuck you're sitting, this goes for you, but us, and there's something you want, you're suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. And that goes back to like the giver, right? Where it's like they're constantly trying to give and trying to like,
they're trying to give so they can receive.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the transaction works. You give and take, but because people only take from them, then they're like, okay, how can I get someone to give to me? Because I need to be given at some point, right? And so like, okay, how is by giving more? And then it will,
come back.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so the other perspective was essentially spoiledness.
Yeah, exactly. When you're just taking, when you're used to taking, when that's how you live, when that's how you're learned about, when you're taught about life through taking, there's no need to give.
Yeah.
And therefore there's no need to learn to love.
Wow. So yeah, so it's easier for one side and it's easier for the other.
Yeah.
Right? They're like yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Where it's easier to love on one side and it's easier
and it's easier to be
receive
loved, to receive love. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much easier to receive gifts when your parents give you gifts all the fucking time.
Yeah.
It's like, duh. That's what I do. I get gifts. That's what life is. It's you guys giving me gifts.
Yeah.
Whatever fucking reason,
No, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
But it's a lot harder to receive gifts when it's like, they're used to fucking
Being the ones. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known people like that where like they've been constant givers.
Yeah.
And man, holy
They're super shit at taking.
dude, like they're just so focused. Like, oh God, it's like they bring themselves down by getting dragged by these leeches, man.
Yeah.
Like leeches just fucking grab onto them and suck their life force.
Yeah, and what's also crazy is like, I don't know if you notice, when you compliment someone who's like always spends all their time building other people up, they reject that shit. Wait, so think of a person, the kind of person who like, if no one else is going to say that you look good, they're going to say that you look good. If no one else is going to say that you're doing a good job, they're going to say that you're good. Just think about that person, the kind of person who's always complimenting other people, right? When you give that person a compliment, what do they say? Oh, I don't know about that. Hey, you know what? I think you're doing a good job. I don't know. I'm just doing okay. Like, I'm just doing what I do. Like, I'm just doing, I'm doing what I should be doing, right? And they play it off. They downplay.
Yeah,
they
dude.
always downplay because they're not good at receiving. They don't
Yeah.
know how to self-love. They know how to love. They know how to give. And that's what they're
Yeah.
used to. That's the dynamic that's used.
Yes.
That's normal to them.
Right. And there's like that balance where it's like when you receive that compliment, it's like, thanks, I am doing a good job.
Yeah.
And that could come off bad too, but that could also come off confident as well.
Yeah.
And so like being from a perspective, now let's go to the other side where it's like, oh, you're doing a good job. They could respond, well, duh, yeah. You know what I mean?
No, for
It's
sure.
like that
Dude.
high entitlement.
And this kind of goes back to like, do I love myself? And I don't even remember when we were talking about this, but like, when people say, because I get compliments a good amount, especially at my job, and when like one of my like employees says that like I don't know, when they compliment me on something, like says that I handle a situation really well or anything like that, I'm always like, no, fuck, because it's okay. I have this one coworker, and she always gives me compliments like, you're really good at this, and like I can't help but just be like, yeah, I know. Like, I just can't help because I do. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I do. I'm not going to be like, I shouldn't say I'm not, but like, it makes no sense for me to be like, oh, thank you. Yeah. I try. It's like, no, I know. Like, yeah, you have a really good understanding of like this kind of process. Yeah, I know. Or, usually I wouldn't say, yeah, I know. I just say, yeah.
So you're on it's easy for you to receive love, essentially.
It's a lot easier for me to receive love than give, and I know that for a fact because this is another interesting thing, and this is really fucking interesting. This is on topic too, which I love. This is cheesy, but there are two kind of people in this world. When there's a misunderstanding, when there's a conflict, and misunderstanding or conflict, the two kind of people are, one person is going to check themselves first, and one person is going to check the other person first, right? When I don't understand you, what is my first thought? Not like, oh, man, I need to listen better because I'm not understanding what he's saying. No, what I think to myself is, okay, how is he wrong?
Right.
Let me figure out why he's wrong, because I'm not understanding what he's saying. So obviously he's wrong. Let me figure out why he's wrong. That's my innate thing. And whenever I have a misunderstanding with someone or anything like that, my initial thought, my very gut feeling is just like, what's wrong with them? Let's figure out what's wrong with them so that we can make the situation work. Because obviously I'm fine. Like, obviously I'm doing things right? They've got to be fucking something up somewhere. That's just so natural to me. And I've gotten really good at checking that. But it still is my innate response. Other people are the other way. I talked to this one girl, and she's the exact other way. Whenever there's something that happens, her first gut reaction is, "What's wrong with me?" She looks at herself, and she thinks to herself, like, what did I do wrong here?
That's how I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. I think I've learned how to balance it a little bit.
Yeah, and so have I. And this is the reason why I'm not like some fucking arrogant prick all the time who's just like doesn't take any blame, because I take a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, when a situation comes, I've learned when to balance it. I've learned when to like look at myself versus look at someone else. You know, like usually it's like reading through someone's like subcommunication or like their body language and how they're coming off and their tone of the voice. If I'm like smelling something fishy, I'll be like, all right, what's wrong with you? Like if I'm smelling something fishy, like if I'm getting like a bat, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this? But if I feel like they seem pretty confident, okay, let me see what's going on. Like what am I doing? You know what I mean? That's essentially what I've based it off of.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned. But I definitely came from a frame of where like, oh, you know, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing?
Yeah.
That's how I initially started.
And it begs the question between dominant and submissive people.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've always seen a very strong correlation, if not an exact correlation, between people who are dominant check other people who are submissive check themselves. And it's also very interesting because as I continue to review my catalog of friends, they're all more or less submissive people.
Oh, really?
Usually I don't like people without fucking spines, though. That's the difference.
Yes.
I don't like people without spines, and it's very difficult for me to get along with someone well and create a real friendship with someone who doesn't have a spine. But all of my good friends, all of them, across the board, they all check themselves first.
Oh, wow.
All of them. All of my friends across the boards are more passive. They're more reserved. They're more submissive. All of them. And it's always been this way. The people who I can really get along with are the people who are more submissive. And I'm a dominant person, and it just makes sense. I've always looked at it as kind of like you don't put two male dogs together.
Yeah.
But you can put a male and female, and you can put a female and female.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And wow. Kind of relates to chromosomes.
Yeah, true.
Interesting, huh?
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And I guess I come from a very like submissive background, so I have a little bit more points in the submissive spectrum than the alternative. And so I'm able to hang out with submissive friends and alpha friends, right? But
let's say dominant. I think alpha has a gross stigma with it.
It does. So, and it's, oh my God, I find it so interesting and entertaining when two dominants are in the same room together.
That's me and Andre.
Oh God,
100% me and Andre.
This
fucker couldn't stand to eat.
I could just like sit back, bro, and just have some popcorn, and I'm just fucking chilling, bro. Like,
what is it that's interesting to you?
Oh, it's just funny, bro. It's so funny because like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I already know the answer to your solutions, but like none of you guys are gonna put your egos down. And you know what? Like, we're just gonna enjoy this moment, bro. Like we're gonna let it sink in. We're gonna let you just drain your energy and tear yourself each other apart until one of you guys are willing to put down the ego. And it's just like, oh God, it's like, oh, cool, we're in for a show. Get the popcorn ready. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna watch this shit.
I think ego plays a role. I think bigger than that, it's pride.
Which is ego?
I don't think so. I think
it's ego. It's ego for sure.
They're similar, but like,
you know, pride is totally ego, dude.
Fucking dictionary. Fucking damn it.
It's totally ego.
Self-esteem or self-importance. Pride is especially proud of a particular skill. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't like that. Ego. Ego can be defined as simple terms as a way of how a person perceives him/herself. This is how a particular individual thinks, feels, distinguishes him or herself from the rest. Pride, on the other hand, is a feeling one may get after an accomplishment. Okay, fuck this shit. All right, fuck that. We're not gonna use those words. Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. I'm just gonna concede that argument. But basically, yeah. You're right. There's because when there's two people and their natural instinct is to check the other person, it's like both people assume that they're right. And ultimately what it comes down to is a closed-mindedness, right? Ultimately what it comes down to is just innately believing that, like, well, I'm obviously right, so that means you're wrong, and I just have to convince you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And also, a really interesting thing, it's a lot easier for an egotistical, I don't even know if I want to say probably egotistical. It's a lot easier for an egotistical person to swallow their pride when they're with someone submissive. When someone submissive is right, the egotistical person usually finds out on their own. Right? They find out on their own accord, and then they're like, fuck, I'm wrong. And then they're like, you know what? Hey, you were right.
Right. Because
you don't do that with someone who's prideful, though.
No, because then they'll fucking lash at you and they'll be rubbing in your face.
Not only that, but also because they win.
Yes, dude.
The submissive person isn't trying to win.
Yes,
the prideful person is, though. Exactly. And that really comes down to, like, ego and what is the ultimate goal of ego? You have something to prove.
Yeah.
You have this need to prove yourself in some capacity for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And so, and when you, yeah, so.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that's definitely good.
Yeah, let me check on time real quick.
It's definitely fucking good. I'm tired of you fuckers. We have the best talks without you.
He's lying. No, he's not lying. It was a pretty good talk
I'm
night.
not lying at all. And, you know, I mean, you guys have
good.
your value, but let's be honest, man. Like, put the camera down, buddy. We get real fucking deep.
I think we'll get to that point for sure, dude.
Maybe, but the thing is, we have to get personal if we want to get there.
Oh, we probably. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
That personal?
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe. We talked about our lives, Brody.
Yeah, that is true.
We talked about our lives, our deep emotions, and I feel like in order to be that present, in order to see, the thing is like, yeah, we can just forget about it, but in order to truly shut it off, you have to be willing to literally be an open book.
Yeah.
To the world. Like, literally 100%, you have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
That's just not true for either of us, obviously.
Yeah.
For probably almost no one. So.
True. Yeah. No, for sure. I agree with that.
So, like, and we can't get to that level of, like, trust with, you know, random strangers. Exactly.
Yeah, so that we're gonna end this episode. What is this episode?
I gotta pee.
6.
I gotta pee. Episode
4, 5. I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think 5.
I
gotta pee.
Yeah, I know. You said this last time.
Pee.
Yesterday, you did this
I know. I drink coffee. I gotta pee. It's how the body works.
Yeah, man.
Simple mathematics.
Mathematicas. All right, guys. That's gonna be it for this episode. Episode 5. We answered 2 questions. What was the first one?
We answered like 3. We talked about the difference between knowing and understanding, and then we answered no, don't. Fuck. I wanted to try to guess it. Yeah. What's the most important? Is the most important purpose in life to find happiness? And then we also answered, is it easier to be loved or to love? Do acts of kindness have a motive? That's an interesting one, but I feel like we've already covered it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we answered those 2 questions for you guys. If you guys have any questions for us, leave them down in the comments below, and we'll answer them.
Dick.
We will answer them. We're gonna look at them.
Like that. I gotta pee.
And we're just gonna
pee. I gotta
answer
pee.
them, bro. You can go. Go pee right now, bro. I'm doing the outro right now.
You're doing the outro?
Yeah.
Bro, some of these questions suck dick. Wait, do acts of kindness have a motive? I mean, maybe, I guess it doesn't suck dick, but I feel like we've already covered that in and out. Is love simply a physical desire or something more? Of course it's something more, right? Right? It's right. It's it's definitely something more. You can want to fuck something, but I don't know, man. It seems like a stupid question. Does evil come from within? If so, why?
Leave a comment down below. We're gonna try to answer it. We're gonna see you guys next week. Something like that. Peace, Lamau. See you.
Peace,
Bye, 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 bye.
That's fucking weird, bruv.
I can hear both.
That's fucking weird, bruv. That's fucking mental, man. Mate. Dude. Bruv. Dude. Man. Mate. Dude.
What?
Bruv. That's fucking mental. Did you listen to the last episode and I was quiet?
No, I haven't even listened to the episode.
So what the fuck are you? You just look at me and it looks like I'm too far? Is that what it is?
I look at you and then you just laugh.
Okay, but like, I'm just like,
No, forget whatever the fuck I said.
Coffee. Give me the coffee. I need water, coffee, and hey, I'm working over here.
Water, coffee, and hey, I'm walking over here.
Hey, I'm working.
Hey, I'm walking over
I'm
here.
walking over here.
I'm walking over here.
Hey,
I'm walking over
Hey,
here.
I'm occupying this part of the street with my feet.
Who the fuck? Hey, what the fuck do you think you're doing,
Whoa,
bro? What the fuck, bro?
I'm walking over here.
You really think? Okay. Ooh. All right. Yeah. It's nice. A little darker, but it's not.